And welcome back to the shit behind the show. Real quick before I get started, thank you to all of you who like, listen, subscribe, and follow me on my journey so I can help you with yours. So this week I have been discussing different attachment styles. Today I am going to be very vulnerable, take off my mask, get naked if you will, not really, and share my attachment style that I've been working through. I am super proud to announce that I realize I have come a very long way from this, with this, and continue to work on this because I am aware now. But it is an internal struggle sometimes. The mind is such a bitch sometimes, and the thoughts, that it can create, and then create some fear, and then create some adverse reaction. So I am just going to throw it out there. Let's discuss the fearful avoidant, ladies and gentlemen. I'll also say, I don't know how in the fuck I got here. Like, what the hell happened? I went from anxious and codependent to realizing like years later, and it's got to be conditioning from dating, because I was not this person when I first got divorced. I was very codependent and anxious. I'm no longer codependent, which I was like, oh, cool. I'm secure. I got this. Oh, no, honey, you're not. No, you're not. And this is something. So I discovered these traits, I would say 2.5 years ago, when I finally decided, like, okay, I'm ready to settle down again, be married, have my person. I love being wife. I absolutely loved it. I love what I call the quiet, quote unquote, boring life. Out of the chaos of dating, I realized the grass always looks greener, but I truly do love being monogamous. I love being in the nurture. I love being there for my guy, but I've had to really pull back because I tend to be the doormat and just overgive and do too much. I found myself doing their laundry, cleaning their house, being there for them at all times, until I felt like they actually had fallen. And then it was scary to me. And again, this is not something that I realized while I was in it. It's later. So welcome to the mind of a fearful avoidant, ladies and gentlemen. And this right now that I'm telling you, that I'm discussing right today, is the reason why I love dismissive avoidance. We tend to be attracted to one another. This is not a bad thing necessarily if you can navigate it together and have an open discussion about which attachment style you are, which I would highly suggest that you maybe not in just casual dating, but if you do meet someone that you really would like to, spend some time with and get to know and maybe have a relationship with, in those stages where you're like, okay, maybe I want to be exclusive with this person, and kind of explore this, see where it goes. I think it's a great idea to have a conversation about attachment styles. Again, I will always ask how much work someone has done on themselves. If they don't bring it up, I will. Self-discovery, self-improvement, all of that, because it's so important to me in my life, and I want someone who finds it important in theirs. Also, I need someone who can support me with this, right? This is my jam every day, is helping people navigate this stuff, both in, like, not both, but all in relationships, romantic relationships, with your children, with your family, everyone in life. And again, this can seep into your career as well. If a lot of you think about this, and are self-aware with this, you will see the areas of life that you this kind of seeps into, but we're going to talk about romantic right now. So fearful avoidant, these are the people that, ouch, the stove is hot. That's me. They live in this state of being afraid of both being too close or too distant. It is this constant inner battle and chaos in the mind of being wishy-washy, very confusing. They keep their feelings at bay, but also unable to hold feelings back. I've always been one that I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you how I feel, but am I going to tell you how I'm feeling? Very different. If that makes sense, you get it. We tend to be overwhelmed by reactions, experiences, emotional storms. Dismissive avoidants are the same. Dismissive avoidants can't handle having open, honest conversations where there may be a little bit of confrontation, or, you know, the nervous system starts to go a little crazy. And I will discuss that a lot in this episode because, again, this is me. So I can speak more from experience than what I've experienced in others, if that makes sense. So we can be unpredictable. And again, I worked through this so much. So this is a lot me like looking back. I can't discuss how I am today because I'm different, but in the past, it was like I used a relationship to get my needs met. And then if someone got too close to me, I would push them away and I would sabotage it. It's crazy because like the same person that I want to feel safe with and I'm clinging to and I'm gravitated toward is also the same person that I am afraid to be safe with and get too close to. It is a complete mind fuck. It is a complete like chaos and confusion in your own mind. You are constantly gaslighting yourself. You are constantly searching for the negative in everything. Why is this person saying this? I catch myself still doing this here and there, but I catch myself. I have to stop myself and think, okay, you're doing it again. And let's correct that. And I am even self-aware enough that if I'm with a partner that I can openly discuss this with and I feel safe with, I will tell them like, hey, I own my shit. I absolutely own my shit. And I'm very, very proud of myself for that. I can be aware and say, yeah, that was on me. I'm sorry. I realize that I'm like being this way right now. And I do fall back into, I'm terrified of old patterns resurfacing and existing. And I tend to overthink that. And so I have to take a step back and think, okay, are you being ridiculous right now? Or are you being self-aware and okay? A lot of the time, ridiculousness is coming back in. The fear is coming back in. And I have to calm myself down and like, it's okay. So this is like the hardest one to love. And I hate admitting that. And I'm like kind of sad that I put some guys through this because I truly believe that there were some that could have loved me the right way had I been aware. One thing with a fearful avoidant is we have to feel safe at all times. We have to feel seen and heard. And that's huge for us. If I can be in the presence of a man and I know he's got me, I know that if I'm going through something, he's just going to hold space for me and hold me. And I know that if I love him correctly, he will show me that same love and not run from me. I know that if I know that there's reciprocation and that he's very self-aware of where he's at, then I feel safe. But we can't always put it on our partner, right? Also, fearful avoidants have a hard time setting boundaries that I've had to correct. Again, very confusing person. These people have rocky relationships, lots of drama, lots of highs and lows. Again, fear of being abandoned, while also having a hard time being intimate. I know in the past that intimacy was something that it is what it is. And it was hard for me because, again, fearful avoidants are attracted to dismissive avoidance. And dismissive avoidance, as soon as they start to feel feelings and there's intimacy there, they will fucking ghost you. They will run. They will start flaking out on you. And the fearful avoidant will kind of chase. And that's something that was hard for me as well. I will no longer chase. I'm mostly secure now. I'm like so close. I'm almost there. And those of you that have done your work, you understand, what I'm saying, but it's just diving into this. And again, Dr. Sarah Hensley has helped me a ton. My therapist has helped me a ton. My friends, my exes, I discussed in the last episode, I've got a couple that I'm still friends with that are doing their work. And I am very open to suggestions and opinions on how I treated them, how I acted, how I reacted, and how I can fix that. So again, the fearful part I'm noticing is pretty much fading away, and I'm more secure, but it's still in the core of me, right? Where I have to address it and be very self-aware and understand it. But it's also important that my partner understands it as well. It's also important. I cannot word today. It's also important that, again, cannot express this enough, that your partner understands their attachment style as well as yours. And you can communicate that. I cannot stress that enough. Follow Angry Therapist. He discusses this a lot, and I get a lot of my information and knowledge from him. So fearful avoidance, we have this strong desire for a relationship, but also we fear the emotional pain that can come from that. And again, we are all terrified. We have this fear of pain again. We've all been through it, right? If you've been divorced, and I'm talking us that are older, if the younger generation, God, I sound old, like 20-year-olds, right out of college, high school, whatever. For Utah, it's high school. We get married young, but we don't have a lot of this shit. But at my age, that's all you're going to find. Everybody has a story. And while their story can be amazing and it creates who we are as human, and I'm very grateful for who I am, my heart is so kind. I have one of the biggest hearts of so many people that I know. I have so much compassion and empathy, and I love to love, and I love people. I love to help people, obviously. But that can be so detrimental because it can also cause you to be a doormat. It can cause you to have this even more overwhelming fear of like putting yourself out there and loving someone, but not receiving this reciprocation. And a desire for the long-term commitment, but also if you don't do your work, you're going to sabotage that. All of these attachment styles, except for the secure, will sabotage. A pattern of getting too close and then moving away. It's the yo-yo effect. Like, ooh, yes, I'm all about you. Wait, I'm going to pull away. Yes, I'm all about you. Wait, I'm going to pull away. And again, I recognize that with me, and I find myself having to like explain to people that I date, to guys that I date, like, yeah, that's me. My last relationship, there were times that were really good that he, I would express that with him and let him know, like, it's just me going through some stuff, and we worked through it very well. And I'm super grateful for that. We had a really great last run where I think we both gained some self-awareness due to our past together. And I was able to work through a lot of that. So again, I was able to sit with it. Behaviors that are triggered by emotional overload. like appear impulsive. It's me. Do you know how hard it is to sit here and admit that you're flawed? And again, I'm not saying that any of these are, you know, you're broken or there's something wrong with you, but it's important to understand. But this is difficult, guys. Can you hear my voice shaking? Kidding, but no, it's a little bit difficult. A lot of with the fearful avoidant, what I learned in my past relationship was that I am triggered. We're all triggered, right? I learned my triggers, which I'm so flippin' proud of. That wasn't a word again. But anyway, I'm so proud of the fact that I was able to recognize my triggers, to sit with it, to sit with the nervous system and self-regulate. Fearful avoidants have a really hard time self-regulating, so they want to run. You know, that uncomfortable feeling of something's off. I'm very intuitive. Most women are, but I'm extremely like empathic, intuitive. I know things and I hate that because I can tell when someone's lying to me. Half the time I will not even say a word. I will just keep it to myself because why? Why have an argument over it? People that are lying are not going to say, oh yeah, I lied to you. Not very often. And so I was triggered a lot. This person had an emotional affair, cheated on me emotionally, that I know for sure. And that person kept resurfacing within the relationship. And I had to sit with that discomfort of like, okay, he's respecting my boundaries now, but she's not. And sitting with the nervous system and just regulating myself. I didn't need him to do it for me. I didn't need him to reassure me. I didn't need to run. I would sit with it. And that is how you heal your attachment style. It's sitting with the discomfort. It's feeling the discomfort. It's realizing, okay, I'm dysregulated right now. The gut is probably churning. The heart sinks into the gut. I shake. I'm so very sensitive to this that I'm very self-aware now. It used to come out in anger. Years ago, I would just get angry. Now I may cry a little bit. I let the feelings come up. I, kind of have to dissect what's going on. I have to self-regulate. I have to heal that on my own. And then I make a decision after the emotion has passed. Then it's, do you want to stay or do you want to go? Is it worth working through and working through with your partner? Or is this a huge red flag and you should go? But again, it takes me sitting with that. It takes me having a conversation with the therapist. It takes me going back to my own work. It takes me journaling and writing this down and discovering, like, where does this come from? Why am I feeling this way? But the feeling that I get when I have worked through all of this and I do feel regulated again and I've done it on my own and I realize I'm safe, that's the sweet spot. And that's the spot where I'm like, I got this. And each time that I did that, the more secure I felt within the relationship and the more I felt relaxed and the more I fell in love with him. Now, again, he wasn't in the same space, which is okay. I'm not faulting him, but he wasn't ready to face his stuff. And we did have conversations about this where he was like, it's too scary to me. And I get it. I get it. Admitting that you are not perfect and facing all of your shit from the past and the pain and why you are where you are today and all of that is tough. What is easier? Move on to the next. Move on to that next dopamine hit and the next relationship that's going to be 3 to 6 months where it's all in this fantasy world and you're living in the honeymoon phase. That's what I was trying to spit out. The honeymoon phase. But once real life sets in, it's on to the next again. Because who wants to do their work? Who wants to have self-actualization and reflection and work with someone. That's a lot of work. Nope, it's easier to just run, to mask, and to move on to the next. External validation, here I come. But I will tell you, there is growth in pain and pain in growth. And if you can get past the growth and get to a secure attachment style, it's truly amazing. It's an amazing feeling to feel like this is where I was and this is where I am today. And I feel like I'm finally in a place, and this is me speaking of myself, I am finally in a place that I feel like I am ready to put in the work. But again, it's just finding that partner that, so many factors, right? The partner that you are attracted to in every way, but also they are ready to do the same with you. And that takes time. But so I have not found that yet, but it's such a peaceful feeling to know that you have come so far, and that when those triggers come up and that feeling comes up of anxiety or fear, that you recognize that this is where it's coming from. You also, with that, when the red flags are waved in front of you, when people overstep the boundaries, if, hopefully they don't, but for me it was when it happened, I was able to just hard no, walk away. There was no fear in, what if I hurt them? What if I get hurt? The fear of the pain from it was like, nope, me not having any more damage caused to my heart or my life, or causing me to get back into the fearful avoidant, and also sticking to my own boundaries of how I want to be treated and how I want love reciprocated, was like way more important than having that partner in my life. You know, being alone and respecting my own boundaries and loving myself first is first and foremost. I can share that with the right person, but if I'm not being treated correctly, there's no fear of like opening up. I will open up and I will love and be loved. But as soon as someone disrespects me or oversteps my boundaries, out. And I won't look back. And I'm super proud that I have gotten to that point. I really hope that so many of you get to that point, because that's healthy. And that's, in that space is where you will attract a healthy partner, right? That is where, that's the sweet spot where you're going to attract someone who's also in that same energy within themselves. And that's when you're going to find that person that you can be securely attached to and work with. You can have a secure attachment, I believe, but still have the fearful avoidant, the dismissive avoidant in the background, where it's like, okay, it's surfacing again. I've got to address this, and you address it and you let it go, but you're secure within your relationship and your partner. But again, it has taken a few relationships where I completely got knocked on my ass. For those of you that know me personally, I've been through it. I have a very colorful life. I can't always blame the men, because there were red flags and I was so terrified of the pain from divorce or breakup, or I was terrified of being abandoned. That's huge for fearful avoidance. We are so terrified of being abandoned that we will stay in it. And this is why we are attracted to the abusive cycles, the narcissist. And I'm not just throwing that around, like the real life narcissistic behavior and the dismissive avoidance, because, and they're attracted to us because we just have this huge fear of being abandoned. And so we will stay in those relationships. I know very few people that have been cheated on as much as I have. And that's not poor, pitiful me story. That is just reality. And these aren't accusations. They've come to me and told me and admitted to me, which kudos to them, right, for admitting it. And I've received apologies from everyone as well, which I appreciate that too. But why did it get to that point? Because when the signs were in front of me, the red flags were waving, I was so terrified of being alone and being abandoned that I just stayed and I put up with it. And if I can love them enough, they will choose me. I had to be chosen. Now I choose me. And again, I have a lot to give someone, but I'm not going to come up from a place of anxiety or desperation to where it damages the work that I've done on myself. And I have to go back and do some more work and correct what they've done. Again, a messy campsite. I have a couple exes that didn't cause any damage. Were they right for me? No. Dismissive avoidants are hard to deal with, and two of them are very difficult. We are better off as friends, and I appreciate that so much. But I don't want them in my life anymore as far as partners, because it's difficult to deal with. I can imagine a fearful avoidant is difficult as well. I don't know that I've ever dealt with one. I've just been one. So this, again, I've talked about this one the most because this is where I was. And again, very grateful for the last couple of years of my life that I was able to work through this through relationship. Again, I can't say it enough. You can do all of your work being alone and single, but it isn't until you are in a relationship that you can really apply those tools and do that work that you really, really get past it and heal it. So, I encourage you all, be brave. You don't need to jump in right away. You don't need to rush anything. I'm not saying that, but be brave and explore it. It's okay. You might get hurt, but guess what? You might not. And like me, you may gain like amazing friends from it. These guys are like brothers to me now. I know I can call them when we're all single, of course, respecting boundaries, and just say, hey guys, I need help with this. And they're like on it. And we love each other. It's a different kind of love, right? Much respect and love and honesty. And I'm so grateful for that. Again, would I ever date a dismissive avoidant again? No. Do I recognize when they're in my path? I do. I do start to recognize it now. And I will choose that wisely, right? But again, be careful that you are not projecting your traumas and your shit onto new people and causing more shit in their life and adding to their emotional backpack. And that is my goal in life. And I hope it's all of yours to really dive into this. Again, it's kind of fun. If you're into self-development, it's kind of fun when you feel like you've accomplished something. And I guess I'm a nerd this way, but when you feel like you've really discovered something about yourself within and you dive into it and you look back and you're like, holy shit, I've come a long way. Like, it's actually really cool, especially after you've been through all of the shit that I've been through and you're grateful for it. I'm truly grateful for every relationship in my past, the traumas I've been through, the shit, because it's not having a life that's leveled out and everything's quote unquote perfect all the time where we learn. It's the chaos. We learn through the chaos and pain, and we grow through the chaos and pain. There's no growth in stagnant, but there's a lot of growth if you apply yourself and discover the knowledge, go to therapy, read the books, listen to the podcasts. There's a lot of growth in that and discovering who you really are. And that's invaluable. And you don't even have to be one that wants to be married again one day, right? It's just the self-discovery within. This can help you in your personal life, with friends, with family, with career. Just discovering who you are inside and why you operate the way you operate. All of these attachment styles also tie into your self-confidence and your self-worth, right? And so if you can gain confidence and self-worth and also dive into the attachment style and why you have that attachment style, it sounds like so much work as I am talking about it, actually. But it's amazing. It truly is amazing. The confidence that I have probably comes across as like being conceited. I really don't care. I like who I am, and this is me, take it or leave it. And I really encourage all of you to be that way. Again, we don't have to project it onto others like, oh, I'm the greatest. That's a narcissist. But to just say, I like me. And if you don't like me, it's okay. I have a big heart. I have a lot to offer. But if it's not accepted, if people don't want you in their life, it's okay. I'm not for everyone. You're not for everyone. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. So again, I'll leave you with this. Really dive into that, because the next one, we're going to discuss the one that we're all striving to get to. And this one, I'm proud that I'm getting there. Actually, I think I've gotten there, but again, diving into the secure attachment. This is one that, again, we should all strive to be. Anyway, thank you again for liking, subscribing, listening. Go check me out on TikTok, Tan and Blonde. I don't know if TikTok's going away. That's a whole other thing. I'm on YouTube, Tan and Blonde, and I share a lot there. There is a lot more on YouTube, actually. Find me on Instagram, The Shit Behind the Show, Facebook, The Shit Behind the Show, and all of your favorite podcasting platforms, of course. Until tomorrow, thank you. I love you all. Bye.